Do you want to learn the exact trading strategy that I utilize here to catch 6 risk reward trading gold during the 8 session with my simple continuation model? Well, in today's video, I'm going to break it down exactly step by step, how I was able to mark structure here, how I was able to cash entry, and all of that. And before I get into today's video, I'll show you guys real quick. I called this out to the Discord as a trade idea. Again, if you want to join and get access to the private trading group, all you have to do is join a course or mentorship link down below. There's limited spots available, and you can get access to this as a free bonus perk. So as you can see, I add everyone, and basically when I sent out the setup, it seemed like everyone was already in the setup, and this just proves that my strategy is very mechanical. It's very easy to follow, and you can basically take almost always the exact same trades if you understand and master the strategy correctly on how I trade it. So again, there's different ratings for different setups. Like for example, this setup here is an A rating. Okay, people will take different trades depending on what types of quality trades you're looking for. For me, I focus mainly on A and A plus setups. So from time to time, I will take B plus, but very rarely will I take only B setups. So depending on the quality setups you're comfortable with taking and what your data shows you, you will take a few more or less trades than me. But anyway, I basically sent out. I noticed people were in the talking in the other group chat, in the private chat, that people were already in the setup or sent it out. So it was cool to see that you guys are learning and improving each and every day and basically taking the good quality setups. I don't want you guys taking the bad quality setups, okay? So take the good quality setups, and I'd rather you double down on those A plus and A setups than, double down and take a lot of losing bad setups in trades, which I'll go over more in depth today on what you should not be trading, what you should not be doing. So basically, I sent out a TP and everything and drawn liquidity, and it hit TP overnight. Again, I went to sleep during this time. This is basically 3 a.m. EST for me, so it's very late in the day, but I really want to catch this trade, so all we had to do was just, again, set an alert here at my POI. Once it triggered, I went to the charts, took my entry, and it sets my TP stop loss. And then for me, I didn't never move to break even here because that's part of my system's rules for A and A plus setups. I don't move to break even, and you can see how it plays out perfectly because if I moved to break even here, I would have got stopped out at break even here and missed this entire 6R move to the upside. And this later ran much more than 6 risk reward, as you can see. If you held the whole way, this is almost 16 risk reward, which is insane. And I'm going to show exactly where you could potentially TP to potentially cash this full 16 risk reward. But anyway, now that you guys see the Discord proof here, trade idea, let me delete that screenshot, and we're going to break down the setup here. So let's go in replay mode here and show you what I was looking at this time. So let's go over here, go back and replay. So first off, go into the higher time frame here. So as you see, in the higher time frame, you look to the left, all you see is that this is all liquidity here, okay? So all this is liquidity on the left because these are all fully mitigated POIs. This is all trailing on liquidity in a sense. And so we want to run this liquidity. And if we want to run this liquidity, well, you're just trading this continuation because we're clearly bringing structure to the upside. So, trade with the trend here. Focus on the right side here, not the left here anymore, because left doesn't have anything meaningful. This is all, like I said, fully mitigated up until potentially this POI above here, or you can switch time frames and find something else. But nonetheless, again, looking for longs here, right? Now let's go to, for example, let's see. We can go to the 1 minute. So I knew in the back of my mind we took out pre-stay high. At the time, I believe this was potentially a session high, I think, only. Can't recall. But once you tap the high, if you want to take counter trend trades, you wait for this sweep first. This is what I call my internal sweep. Okay, you wait for that to get swept first. And then once that gets swept, then you look for your entry model. So for here, there's IFUG using my indicator. There's stop loss. Here's a TP. Okay, so you can either take it like this as your first entry for that B plus setups, because again, this is counter trend and we have internal sweep making it B plus. Now, if it was just a normal B setup, it would just be basically taking this here and you would actually take a loss here. Now, depending on your stop loss rule on how much you want to extend your stop loss, you could still be in this trade and catch like a 3 risk reward trade here and not got stopped out. But again, based on how I trade personally, I'm waiting for this internal sweep here and then taking the counter trend trade here. But again, this is not a trade I took. This is a trade that I saw someone in the group, I believe, took. Don't remember their exact entry, but we'll go over that in a bit here. So this was a potential setup they could have taken for about 2 risk reward, targeting just, again, the flip. Now, how do you mark the range here? Just the simple and complex way of marking the range. The simple here is just this, because this low made this new high, breaking this 80 session high here, right? This is the most extreme low here. So nonetheless, price did go back to 50%, regardless of how you mark the range here. Marking it like this would be basically wrong. So you should mark it this, or you mark this. The reason why I mark this is because, well, you can consider this potentially inducement here, and there's a very nice displacement flip here. There's a huge bounce, huge displacement here, and we tend to typically, whenever you displace a lot, like above a higher low, such as this, like you can see we broke these highs. Instead of retracing immediately, we kept going higher. Usually the range will be trailing in a sense, if that makes more sense, towards the trade, just because it's very rare for price to come all the way back down here if it wants to trend higher. So this was my trend range I marked out here. Most obvious flip. Why is this a flip? This could actually technically be your origin, since this is the most extreme PY on the women at least. So you can mark that as your origin as well, unless this is not mitigated, but at least this is mitigated already here. But the reason why I marked it as a flip is just because, you know, it flips structure here. It doesn't have to, but in this case, when it does displace this much above highs, I just use this as a flip. The demand broke the past supply. So we used to have supply here in a sense, as in we have a high here, and this flip broke above the high, flipping this structure here. Again, it doesn't have to flip structure to be a flip. I'm just saying this adds basically confidence and confluence into the trade. This is a very strong zone. So once we get back here, you can basically take your longs here. That's what I was waiting for. You can set alert, do whatever you want. Hit the zone, and you could take your trade. Now, another way you could enter this B plus short is there's an OB entry model here. So I saw someone in the group got like a good amount of risk reward trading this. So you could have got this. Depending on how tight you wanted to stop loss, you could potentially catch 10 risk reward on this short here with an aggressive stop loss. If you choose a standard stop loss, 4 risk reward, which is still, by the way, 4 risk reward is very good for a counter trend trade. My average risk reward to keep in mind is 3 to 4. On my continuations, probably like 5 to 6. But for a counter trend trade, 4 risk reward is considered high. So no matter how you manage here, this should be an easy winning trade. Unless you manage to break even, then it is what it is, right? Again, that all depends on your system and your rules. So that's another setup you could have taken, or another way you could have took the trade. So that's number 2. Now number 3 way you could have taken the trade is, if you missed that OB entry model, and let's say you missed this too, right? You had 2 different times to enter. Then all you're doing here is basically waiting for this PY here, which is unmitigated. Again, if you need to understand the PY, I recommend you get my elite indicator. Okay, you can either get it for a one-time payment, or you can get it for monthly or yearly subscription. You get access to all of this, everything, all 7 indicators total. And this marks out all your structure, POIs, IFGs, entry models, all of that. So it makes things a lot more clear and easy, because I do notice some of you guys are missing trades when you shouldn't be, because you do not see these POIs unmitigated in real time. And the indicator makes sure that you do never, ever miss these. So this is your origin here. Okay, let me mark this. This is your origin here. And the second trade you could have taken is, again, depending on how you trade this, some people, I think someone had a limit order here in the group chat that sent it. I was looking at the course members chat. But how I would have entered it is just IFG here. Let me see. Yeah, this is the extreme because it's bearish pullback internally. And this one has no IFG here. So this one should be inversed. And depending on how aggressive you want to be with your stop loss, you can cover that if you want. And again, your TP is either going to be at the next low or the flip. Usually I'll probably target the flip, and I'll probably go break even after take out this low in case price does want to do a mitigation cycle and then go lower again. That could be a possibility. I've seen it happen before. So, you know, manage trade wisely is all I'm gonna say here. So 5-6 risk reward, which is a lot. Now, I would never be targeting something like this unless you want to go for a one-to-one scalp. Doesn't make sense for me structure wise, because my draw is this flip. At this period of time, my draw is this flip. So why target like only one-to-one or this PY here? Doesn't make sense to me, because price is not going to reverse here to go higher. Like, what is it reversing off of? That's what you want to ask yourself. There's nothing on the left here. There's this PY here, sure, but this PY is in premium. It's not going to reverse off there. So all this, if you think about it, if you go to the higher time frame, is just consolidation. Okay, it's going to look a little bit goofy, right? But on the 1 minute, it does look clear. It's a pretty big range, and you're just following the trend here. Again, intermediate trend currently here is bearish. So you don't want to be long in this. Doesn't make sense. We have to trade the bearish trend into the bullish trend. That's what we do here at ETU. So you take that trade, and then here's our OB entry model for the flip. So I have my limit order here set at OB, cover a bit low, pass the low here, just in case you get wicked out. Gold is more volatile, like most people know, and I do have those stop loss rules, as you said, for stop loss expansion for the very conservative method. If you haven't seen that course video, highly recommend you go and do watch it now. It's very important because I go over different ways to manage your trade in terms of placing your stop loss. Again, the course is very comprehensive. It has like everything A to Z for you to learn about this strategy. It's a very OP strategy, and you can make so much money off of the system. It's crazy. I believe one of the members even made like 24 sword last night, which is more than what I made. I usually don't even make 24 sword in a single session. So that's a lot of reward, just trading pure gold with my strategy. Anyway, here's a reward, or here's a trade. Again, you can play it out real quick. It's at 10 times speed, yeah. And my target was just set and forget at this high here. So I'll mark the high here in case you don't see it. There's my TP right at that high. And let me delete this real quick. So hopefully all this makes sense in terms of internal structure versus external structure, trading the continuation here. You can even consider this external if you wanted to, because it is a range that you do trade the main strategy with. Like for example, what this is technically a 50% range that you could trade the strategy with. But for me, this is one delivery to me. So I do still think this is more of a, in a sense where you could trade this as a main setup, but it's still internal to this structure, if that makes sense. Again, sometimes it will get a bit more confusing with new value, new ranges because of how time theory plays out. In this case, 2 hours trading, and we haven't even traded back to the external range yet of this 50%, but that's how price is. That's how gold moves. You gotta learn how it moves. So this is 6 risk reward here. Now, how could you have maximized your risk reward on this trade? Well, let's switch time frames and let's find this out together, because I didn't take any trades after this. So we'll be figuring that out together. So there's a supply here, and that's why you can see this 5-minute supply caused this move here. So you could have even refined this 5-minute if you want to ahead of time, and you would have basically not needed to take that first loss, and you just take 1 win, 2 wins, and 3 wins back to back to back. Let's see if I can find anything else on the higher time frame. So we do have this liquidity. This is a pretty big liquidity pool, this high here. The reason why is because this high made this new low here, this broke structure here. Like all these highs are going to get ran, and this is the high that ultimately made that new low. So I'd be careful once we do take out this high, because we could potentially get a nice short here. And then let's see, we do have a PY on the 5-minute here. Okay. So let's see what happens here. I think the ran about like here roughly, I believe, to the supply actually. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, okay. Apparently it did run to a supply here on the 5-minute here, and you can see that caused this entire big move here. Now if you switch time frames, you might be able to find another PY potentially. We did hit the 1 hour. Let's see if there's anything in 4 hour. 4 hours is just a massive gap to the upside. And again, remember, we're trading internally on a lower time frame, so there's gonna be so much internal structure here in 1.18% of gold that you don't want to be focusing too blindly on just longing and longing and longing, because there's gonna be moves to the upside and downside here. So switch your time frames. Again, keep in mind, this is a lot of liquidity here, right? This is basically a 1 hour stop hunter here that could potentially happen. And that's why you can trade both sides after you do take out this high if you want to. Let's see, what else do I see here? So we'll just refine this to 1 hour here. So 1 hour, buy to sell. Buy to sell right there. If you don't know what that means, again, go through the course content again. I have a video on this. And you can see it hit it to the perfect tick. So if you had a limit order here, for example, you could have caught this nice move. If you waited for confirmation, you could have caught the nice move as well. Something like this. And wherever you want to TP. But that's basically it going over this trading day and how you're able to cash the same trades as me, just learning my strategy. Hope you guys do enjoy today's video, man. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share the channel with their friends, trying to grow to 1,000 Discord members. Currently we're at about 880, 870-ish right now. So join the free Discord server down below for more educational content. And if you want to join the group, click the link down below, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.